Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Happy New Year. Ange is smiling, as you can see, as are Spurs fans. The artwork you see is by Lord of Akka. Go check him out for some of the best artwork available on Twitter. As I said, Happy New Year to one and all. I'm with my partner in crime, Johnny H. How are we doing, brother? Happy New
I'm
Year.
all right. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone out there. As you can hear, I'm still haven't shaken this off.
You're getting there. You're getting there,
I'm
but I
getting
don't
there.
know. Was it a late night? Is this COVID or is this a late night last night?
It was a mix. Late night. It's not COVID, but a late night last night. And obviously going to Spurs yesterday, which was, didn't do any shouting. Well, I tried not to do any shouting. Yeah, listen, what a way to enter into 2024 as a Spurs fan after 5 years of absolute dross and pain and heartache. We can at least go in with some optimism for once in our fans' lives. Well, especially for the younger fans out there, that's for sure.
Damn right, damn right. Is there a better way to end 2023 and start 2024 with a Spurs win, a filth lose? They were top at Christmas. They're fourth by New Year's. It's a wonderful start to the new year. The transfer window is open. But most importantly, people, we at Tottenham on Tour, starting 2024, memberships are available now. Next to the subscribe button, you will see join. There are two membership levels, $1.99, $4.99. If you can join, if you're able to join and support the channel, fantastic. There's a lot coming. We've already had our first member, which was RFS 1899. So always be remembered as the first. But listen,
membership number 1.
001 live Rennie's for Vicarious Fan Club. We've got our first member, but let's just say hello and happy new year to everyone before we get into the show. So Ian Collins, happy new year to you. Same goes to Adam McFarlane, my brother in Sweden. Tony, I hope you're good. Just a harmless potato. Andrew Gregory, Ray the Yid, Graham Hill, Brett. We've got, there you go, New Zealand and Australia next to each other there. Lee Harvey, how are you, sir? Happy New Year. Sean McKenna, Corey is in the building. Who else we got in here? John Ellis Hall, Kookaburra, Yoris. Let's have a look. Who else? Rainman, Happy New Year. Danny Masters, Happy New Year. Kudos, Happy New Year. Fran, Happy New Year to you, darling. Rick, Happy New Year. Who else? My brother, my little brother, who will be with me in a few weeks' time. Ryan, Happy New Year to you. Miles, your mum, and all the family. Tempest, Fugit, big up, Happy New Year. Mark the Sheriff Cousins. We have Keith Edwards, Benjamin Foster. Ferg is in the building. Ferg, Happy New Year to you, all the family, the newborn. A super chat already. Thank you, Agdavon. Happy New Year. Well, yesterday panned out a lot better than I had feared. Arsenal losing was the end. New Year's Eve fireworks come early. It certainly was. Simon Cohen, Happy New Year to you. Who else? Kate, Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Mick, Happy New Year. Farog, Happy New Year. Derek Hutchinson, Happy New Year. Paul Pablo, Happy New Year. Charlie E, Happy New Year. Paddy, Happy New Year, my man. Crossbones E Gaming. Ben Kaufman, Jeff, Happy New Year, my man. Hennessy is here. International. We are busy today. That is it. There's 136 of you already in here. Thank you so much for joining us. Right.
For people, hit that like button, guys. While
there you go. New year, Johnny, go back. There you go. It didn't take you long, Johnny. Back in the swing of things. Right. Just so people who may not have seen this show before or have seen it and sometimes don't get the premise of what we're doing, we have this in 4 simple sections. We will talk the negatives if we think there are any. The positives, there are lots. Special mentions to players that deserve it. And finally, the big man himself. So we always start with the worst and work our way up. So Johnny, any negatives for you?
Well, it's got to be that old nugget, the injuries again. What is going on? what is going on? I'm sorry. I'm really, when I saw Veliz pull up, you know, the game should have stopped, or the medical team should have gone on to the pitch. He was definitely in trouble. He got up. I'm sure those of you who have seen it, if you haven't seen it, basically, Veliz went down with looked like he was in pain. Yeah, very well. He then proceeded to try and play on. It was like something out of an old black and white Keystone Cop movie, where the sidelines were going like this. He was up and down, hopping, right, in agony, falling on the ground. I mean, there was one stage where I can't remember who. I'm not sure if it was Sonny who actually passed to him when he knew, like everyone knew that he was finished, and he actually passed him the ball. It was farcical. But the injuries, there's something wrong there, Brian. You know, we've seen a couple of reports that under Ange at Celtic, there were a lot of hamstring injuries. I've never known any club to have as many injuries. We look, this isn't such a new thing. You know, we struggled. We made lots of comments, you and I, last year, last season, about the injuries under Conte, maybe the training methods. It's got worse. You know, when you have hundreds of millions of pounds worth of talent, you would think that you would spend a percentage, a justified percentage, on the monitoring and the welfare of said individuals. And I just feel that that money is not being spent. I don't feel that we have enough full-time dedicated staff monitoring. I mean, sports science now is incredible. And when you see the likes of Arsenal, you know, I'm having to listen on the radio today when I was driving back over that, you know, Arsenal had 3 injuries, and how Partey and Timber and Tommy Ashley has really affected them. They've hardly had an injury. You know, we've got, what are we up to now?
You can almost say first 11 that have just injured.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, our injured 11, I fancy would be our starting 11, to be honest.
Well, mate, but I'm going to respond to that. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Andrew Gregory, who has become a member, and Lee Harvey, who has become a member. Paddy, I've seen your comment, which I've started. I'm going to bring it up shortly because Paddy brings something up. But I put a tweet out yesterday, straight after Sarr went off, saying, why do we not have a stretcher? We saw the stretcher with Veliz, but he didn't get on it, so we know there is one.
How long did it take to come?
But I was just like, why are we doing this? And then I had some responses saying to me, it's the players and their pride. They don't want to go off on a stretcher. I'm like, I don't care about that. No player wants to be on the injury list. Surely, as assets, you don't want to risk. If you look at it, we've had Bentancur go off with his ACL, and then his second one at Villa. Romero, Van der Ven, who's a very tall guy, and the 2 people that were carrying him wouldn't have really given him any support.
Embarrassing.
Sarr, I don't know why. I mean, listen, there may be injuries that they're not so serious and they look bad, but surely you would say the first thing you want to do is put them on a stretcher, and protect whatever injury it may be, and not exacerbate it and make it worse. But Paddy's put here, I'm good friends with a fellow who was physio for Celtic, and he said when Ange arrived, they had lots of players putting up with hammies. It's down to his intensity. He wants the players got used to it. So we've got to hope. I mean, Sarr, from what I've heard today and from other people saying, it looks like he is going to. I just want to say as well, thank you to International Observer, and thank you to Brett for becoming. Oh, and of course, Vicario 001.
Oh, the members of the memberships are flying. The memberships.
Thank you so much,
guys. All the support is much appreciated.
It really, really is. Thank you so very much indeed.
And, all the money raised will go to give me a new voice box.
There we go. There we go. That's what it will go to. We're doing a GoFundMe for Johnny's new voice, but yeah, the injuries are a concern. Veliz looks like a bad one, doesn't it? Valise looks like a horror one.
Why? I just don't understand. You know, he's injured. Go down on the ground. Do not get up. I mean, I've never seen anything. The stupidity of it. I mean, Gio and I think it was Gio and Ange were telling him to stay down. It was definitely Gio and one other. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And let's be honest, he's waited his whole, you know, the whole of the summer, all of his time building to when we will need him when Sonny goes off.
Yep.
Because I reckon what was going to happen was Richy was going to go out left. Personally, I think Richy was going to go left. I think that Valise was going to go through the middle, and Johnson was going to go out on the right, and we would probably have Kulu playing somewhere in the middle with Bentancur and Gio, which is how I felt like that midfield was going to end up being. So it's a major loss for us. Hopefully it's not so bad, but didn't look good.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring up a negative, and a few people put it in there. I think once Saar went off, our midfield didn't look right as a unit. Don't get me wrong, we're going to get to special mentions, and there's a player in there that is going to get a very special mention from a certain person by the name of Johnny. But yeah, I think the midfield, just want to say thank you to Joris. Super chats I will deal with in a moment. We do have a couple, so I will get onto them. But Joris, thank you very much indeed, sir. But yeah, I think the midfield, once Saar went off, obviously it's very, very depleted. And you look at it, at one point, it was three that I don't think have played a lot of minutes together. And Bournemouth were able to use that. That midfield looked like Bournemouth were just cutting through it like butter, weren't they, Johnny?
I thought, I've got to say, I thought Bournemouth were absolutely superb yesterday.
Yeah.
Iriola's done a fantastic job. You know, I really like their football. I thought we got away with one yesterday. I really did. You know, they had 24 shots as opposed to our 12, twice as many shots as us at home. And yeah, the drop off when Saar left was immense. Look, no disrespect to Skippy, but he chases and he chases and he chases. Some of the challenges, some of the thing was awful. But I think what that led to was it became much harder for both Bentancur and Gio to impose themselves in that last part of the first half, where Bournemouth really were dominating us, especially because we were playing so narrow. They were coming down our flanks, and it was just all too easy. And let's be honest, with a bit more luck and better finishing, Solanke had 9 efforts on goal, 9, and never scored. So, let's be serious here. On a normal day, interesting though to see Ange giving Solanke a little hug after the game.
There's a lot of people that have spoken about that. Just to let people know, your comments are coming through thick and fast, and I do mean thick and fast. I'm hoping Ben's going to come in the back end and manage these comments. There's some more. Ray, you're a very, very close friend of mine. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much, Sharif. And of course, Bran, thank you so much for the support of the channel. So yeah, Johnny, do you have another negative? Or we get positives?
No, I just feel like the crowd, the crowd were just a bit subdued. It's like they're still, although they're loving everything. See, go back to that comment, man.
Yeah. Don't worry. We can deal with that. We can deal with it. We can deal with it when we get there. We can get there.
I think so. That's the negative. I'll tell you what the negative is.
Go on, Tigaro. Thank you very much indeed, brother.
The negative is that people who have an issue about a player and will not let go of it, like a dog with a bone, they hang on and hang on and hang on, and no matter what that player does, they will not change. I was critical of Pedro Porro, right? Didn't have a great game yesterday, but I was very critical of him when he came in. And I was the first one to say he can't defend, and I called him the pantomime defender because the defender was always behind him. But I've changed my opinion because he's worked hard on it. But there are fans there who just use the same old scapegoats over and over again, and they are Emerson Royal, Richarlison, and probably Højbjerg, and probably Ben Davies. We all know about Dyer, but it's justified. Other than that, so guys, you've got to allow for the fact that I see comments there about certain players having a shocking game yesterday. Shot on target, fantastic pass for the goal. We'll come on to that.
Yeah, we'll come to. I mean, I've got him here as well with it. I see it as well. Obviously, I try and stick up for Brennan Johnson wherever I can, and obviously when we did Brighton, there was no chance of sticking up for him. There's no chance of sticking up for anyone apart from Vicario, in all honesty. But yesterday, thought he played well, and you're right. Some of the fans, and don't get me wrong, you and me were, like you said, you and me were the same with Porro. You and me were exactly the same with Porro. But when it got to it, we were like, no, do you know what? He's played well. We need to retract what we're saying. We need to. It's just strange how this keeps happening. I think we'll get onto players when we get to special mentions. Obviously, there's a couple that I think played very, very well, which may surprise people, may not, but we'll get into it. I'm just trying to think if there's any other negatives. I can't think of... but the only other thing I will say is, again, Spurs unable to keep a clean sheet. Don't get me wrong, but I will say Bournemouth, listen, Vicario, again, we'll get onto him in special mentions. Big up, Amir Ahi. Ben leading the comments, thank God. Look, hands free.
Don't forget to hit that like button. There's 230 of you in here and only 70 likes.
There's 255. There's 255. So thank you, everyone, on your New Year's Day. It's probably perfect hangover TV right now, which is why we did it at midday. But yeah, I think defensively, obviously, it's going to change when we've got Porro, Van der Ven, Romero, and Destiny, and dare I say, drag us in. We shall soon see. But yeah, the inability to keep a clean sheet is getting concerning, Johnny. Because if you look at it, yesterday, sorry, I just want to add to this one thing. We obviously had our worst defensive record last season in Premier League recent history. It was a tight race to see who would finish worst defence in the calendar year between us, Forest, and Bournemouth. Forest were on 69, we were on 68, and I believe Bournemouth were on 67. And thankfully, the three we put past Bournemouth made Bournemouth. Big up, Sean. Thank you very much indeed, brother.
Just not reading into it, Brian, because look, I mean, to ask a defence made up of Emerson Royal, Davis, backs, and zero protection from Basuma and Sarr is, you're not going to keep a clean sheet. So, we need to keep perspective here. I think it's, I'm not going to look into that. We would all like to have kept a clean sheet yesterday, but, it just wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. I had Porro in my fantasy team, so I was hoping for a clean sheet.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it will start against Burnley. New year, we start.
It's going to be a hard one.
The good thing, as I've seen many people say, at least Manchester United are undefeated in 2024. There's a positive for them this season. All right, enough.
The keyword, 100%.
Enough of the negatives. Let's move on, Johnny. Always you go first. Positives.
I think the one that's the best Christmas present, I think, of all of them was the fact that we saw Lolo on the pitch. I mean, I couldn't believe there was a cryptic message from his wife, I think, on Friday or Saturday, which I didn't put much thing to because he had ankle ligament damage. It must have been slight ankle ligament damage because normally that would signify him not coming back till probably end of Jan, February at the earliest. So remarkable. I did worry, was he forced back because Kulu was out? Maybe it was the case that he said, I can do 50 minutes, but just to see him on the pitch, first 15 minutes, he was fantastic. That's because he had Sarr as his foil. But it became more of a struggle as time went on. I looked at him after about 25 minutes and he was bent over double, sucking it up. So, you know, he's had a long gap out.
Yep.
Then he's come back. How many games was it? 2 games?
Something like that. Yeah, 2.
Yeah.
No, maybe 3. 2. A fair few.
No, come back before he was injured again.
Yeah, I think it was 3. 2 or 3. He played Crystal Palace. He played,
but not full games.
No, exactly. Yeah. So he started the first one he started, he got crocked.
I'm amazed that he lasted 60 minutes, 58 minutes. But so that was a huge positive. I hope they protect him now. We got another week or so before the Burnley game, which I think is going to be quite brutal. That's going to be a harder game than everyone thinks. We've got to be honest.
I have to announce, G-Money, sorry, I was going to bring that up and I forgot when we moved to positives. Thank God Ben's here. This has been spoken about a lot about Højbjerg passing the ball to Valise when he was literally, you know, one of the positives is this man's dedication in Valise to try and run around and be part of the team and help the team during the time. But yeah, I don't know what Højbjerg was thinking about G-Money. You were there, Johnny. What did you think? We'll quickly talk about this, then I'll go on to what you said about Bentancur.
I was I was a bit distracted because I was fuming that, you know, we need you, just stay down. Why are you? I know you're only 19 years of age, but surely you're enough of a brain to realise, yeah, you're doing it for the team. Go down. The game will get stopped. The medical team will come on and they will look at you and make a diagnosis. Maybe not our medical team, but maybe we could have borrowed the Bournemouth medical team. But for him to be up, the only people I saw, I didn't see the medical team telling him to lie down. I saw Gio and I saw Ange and maybe one other saying like this, lie down. And then he got up and then he was hobbling around. So when I saw the ball going to him, I actually hadn't seen it. I got to be honest with you, I hadn't seen until someone just told me that it was actually Højbjerg who had passed him the ball. I mean, it was like ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. But look, there was no more subs. But sorry, can I just say another negative? Sorry,
go on. Then I'll get back to Lolo. Go on.
Yeah, sorry. It's happened again. I don't understand what Ange is doing. Jamie Donnelly got told he was coming off. He got stripped again. And then when we went 3-0 up, he said, no, you can sit back down again. You're not getting a game. He did exactly the same to him against Brighton. That doesn't build confidence. I'm sorry. 3-0 up. It's not 3-0 the time to bring him on.
I think he gets game time against Burnley. I think he has to. Just want to say thanks to Rich S-Man as well for becoming a member. Thank you very much indeed, people. You can hit the join button and join. There is a lot coming for our members, and I do mean a hell of a lot. I'll go into all the perks and quirks on Cockerel Doodle Doo tomorrow back at its normal time. I've had a lay-in today of 6 a.m. Not 3:30 in the morning or 3:15. But yeah, Bentancur. Do you know what? I was doing a update with Simeon on We Are Tottenham TV when his wife did that cryptic message, and I thought that was just him back in training early. Then obviously the pictures went round that it was there, and at the time I was speaking to Sean Slater back and forth on WhatsApp, and he sent me the photo saying, "Oh my God, look, he's in," and that was just before the squad was announced. And then he was like, the squad, he's starting. I was like, what the hell? And obviously I was like, please don't have been rushing him back. This is the time we need him. Then I'll tell you one thing. When I saw the pissing down rain, And my God, I was walking around Toronto in a t-shirt yesterday. I've woken up and seen it snowing, and the whole road is covered in snow. But yesterday I was in a t-shirt, and I could not believe the weather. And I was like, get him off, because one slide, one hyperextension, and there could be a big, big problem. But I think during the game, he played the game well, obviously heavily involved in the first goal. And we managed him well. It was a huge surprise for us, a huge, huge surprise. And you can just see we'll talk about him more in special mentions. The positives, I'll tell you one big positive for me is there's many people that are saying, do you know what, it was hard fought, or we got away with one. Bournemouth could have taken their chances, or we rode our luck. But you know what? I think we did ride our luck. But the thing is, after that Bournemouth Brighton game, we had to respond and lay a marker down. We had to end the year with a bang. And most importantly, we had to get the job done, even with a depleted team. If this team is going to get top four, if this team is going to get even people saying a title charge, and let's face it, with 3 points off top, I know Liverpool playing today, it could be 6. All the injuries, all the suspensions, and just to think that we're 3 points off top. Thank you, 322 of you. Big up to every single one of you. Thank you for spending your New Year's Day with us. But yeah, just getting the job done. We answered the questions that were asked, didn't we, Johnny?
Yeah, I listen. I'm going to say it. I actually truly believe without what happened at Chelsea, losing 5 players in one game through injury, 3 through injury and 2 for suspensions and sending off, that we would comfortably, I believe, be top of the table, and everyone will be waxing lyrical about us. And they should be waxing lyrical about us because, for us, incredibly, when you think about the injuries that we have, to be in the situation where we are now is unfathomable. Could you imagine playing this type of football under the likes of, Mourinho or Conte? He would be raging. He would be crying at every news conference, saying, how he's got no chance. The club's in a mess, and here we are, and having to play the likes of Dyer and Davis, playing 4 backs, having a makeshift, let's be honest, a very weak midfield. Is nowhere near our strongest midfield. And I just think it's fantastic. And, I just think the future is looking very bright indeed if we continue this progression. That's what I would say.
Big up, James. Big up, everyone. International Observer, I've seen you in there. Don't forget to email me. You were going to email. Make sure you get that email to me, buddy. Yeah, what you were just saying was completely right. And listen, we're in a good place. Johnny, do you have any other positives, or are we moving?
I was just going to say that we're talking about the halftime team talk here. I think what you have to realise is that the gulf, I know I'm going to talk about individuals here, but the gulf between Papa Sarr and Oliver Skipp, there's no disrespect to Oliver Skipp, right? It's immense. It's absolutely immense. I still liken him to a young Patrick Vieira, Papa Sarr. His tackle, the ground that he covers, the blocks, just so much he does. And what it does, if you watch American football, for the quarterback pass protection,
yep,
he offers the likes of a Bentancur and a Gio the space to play their game, to get on the ball, to give them time, to put those balls through. And that's what was happening, I felt, in the first, 20 odd minutes. But when he went off, it was a struggle. It was a struggle.
This is a great comment. I've got to say, sorry, Johnny, New Year's Day, midday, if you're in England, you're languishing mid-table, and that's what
it's blue and white.
Your New Year's resolution is to come in and help Spurs Channel's algorithms. Thank you very much for your support, mate. Don't forget to like or become a member.
Yeah.
But sorry, Johnny, back to what you were saying.
Yeah, no, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, the drop off was huge. So when they're saying that, you've got a not fit Bentancur who after 20 minutes, 25 minutes was starting to look very tired. You had no Papasar, right? And you had Skip, right?
I have to say, Lee, everyone's adopting this name. Lee, everyone is adopting this name. And the comment a couple above, where was it? Someone saying about Skip and Sarr on a long-term contract. It was all reported yesterday that it's pretty much done and dusted.
Yeah.
It just needs to be rubber stamped. He has signed a new contract till 2030. It's just waiting for official announcement.
I would sell Skip. He's homegrown and use that money to buy a Gallagher. Sell Højbjerg as well if he wants to go, and the two combined would give us Gallagher. And I think putting Gallagher in that midfield would really add to Tottenham, because we would have the choice of playing the Gallagher that's playing Chelsea with a more sort of pragmatic role, or the Gallagher that we saw at Crystal Palace who was scoring goals and assisting. Chelsea need the money for FFP because all of the sale is 100% going to pay back the debts. I can't see it, but it would be great if we could actually do that deal. Anyway.
Yep. Let's move on. It's time for the bit we all love. Let's do it. It's time for a special mention.
Pure facts. No Skippy hate. We don't hate the players. The only one I have contempt for is Eric Dyer, because he's taken the piss out of the club, in my opinion, by just hanging about.
But Johnny, go on. Let's do it. I know where you're going first of all.
No, I'm going to go for Gio for obvious reasons. When Ange signed, I said there's only one player, potentially two, that could play under Ange's system, but the one who could definitely play in his system and for once actually shine is Gio. If you watch him play for Argentina, if you watch him play for Villarreal, and the type of player he is, and Ange ball is perfect for Gio. No one really agreed, not nobody, but the vast majority of people didn't agree. I was so happy to see him come back into the game. And again, he was getting overlooked. He wasn't starting games. I've got to tell you, yesterday, I think he had 92% pass completion, 60 possessions, 37 passes, 2 assists, 4 tackles. Yes, in that first half, all the passes weren't going the right way in all the time. But I think people seem to have forgotten that Ange encourages people to play the forward pass. Do not apologise for a pass when you're trying to go forwards, right, and you lose the ball. Okay, under Conte, you've got to remember these players were scared. That's why we went sideways and backwards, right? Because for fear of losing the ball, maintain the ball, keep the ball. Ange doesn't care about that, right? We've seen it with Romero and with others when they try to pass out the back and it goes wrong. No one's there berating them or beating someone over the head with it. And that first half was very, very difficult for both Bentancur and for Gio in that first half. But the passes, some of those passes, the tackle for Papasar's first goal. First of all, he's telling them to close down. He told Richy to close down for that first one. Yeah. And he slid in, got that tackle, won the ball, which then Sol picked up and scored the goal. The pass with the outside of the foot for Son was absolutely superb. I mean, honestly, truthfully, if we can get this guy back on Son, no Son, unfortunately, but if we can get him in a midfield of Bentancur and Kulu until those come back, I think he's going to offer us a lot. I really do. I thought it was absolutely outstanding yesterday. it was between two players. I thought for man of the match, but for me, without him, we wouldn't have won that game.
So, I know who the other one is because you, me, and Billy were speaking on your
yeah.
thread. So I will speak about the other person. I have said with you many, many times, and I will always defend you, Johnny, because you're the one person, or there's a couple, but you, whenever we've been doing this, or every time we meet and talk, you do wax lyrical about Gio and how he is fit for this system. I have never doubted Gio's ability on the pitch. It's his ability to stay on the pitch and not pick up injuries. And he was heavily involved in the first goal, which obviously Bentancur cut the ball out, and then Gio made the sliding tackle to Pape. The pass was exquisite. This guy can put in he can mix it up, and his shithousery the last few games has just been exceptional. He's done it in a few games now. He's done it with Manchester City. He obviously did it at Brighton, and he will.
Can I just say that? Sorry, there's been two comments there. He doesn't like it when he doesn't have the ball. You do realise he won the tackle. He chased back and won the tackle that created the chance for Sarr.
Yeah.
He also won a tackle on the edge of the box on two occasions. In fact, he won 4 tackles and was fouled 4 times in defending. And the other comment about he's been there 5 years, you're 100% right. He's been there 5 years, right? And he should have done better. But you've got to understand, right? Sometimes players' systems don't suit players, right? It's as simple as that. You know, this is a guy that's a first one on, not the first, but he's on that team sheet as a nailed on playing for Argentina. And he single-handedly dragged Villarreal to the semi-finals of the Champions League. There is a player there. Unfortunately, you have to agree, he has not delivered for Spurs. 100%, he has not delivered for Spurs under the systems that's there. But you know, I under Ange-r, he's perfect for it because he's a progressive footballer.
You're Johnny. You're spot on. I keep saying when this comes up, this is what happens when Spurs kept hiring attacking, defensive, defensive, attacking, attacking, defensive. Gio was bought for Poch or by Poch, made permanent under Jose. And he's a Poch type player or an attacking manager's player. Yeah. And then we hired 3 defensive managers before we came to Gio. With Gio, if we can find the magical cure to keep him fit and he stays fit for a sustained amount of time, there is a player and a half in there. It's always the case with him, is Willie. It's like, look, put it this way. Put it this way. As you can comfort, I will keep saying, and people, there's a lot of marmite about Højbjerg, and I'm a fan of his, but I get where this is coming from with him. But if there's one player in the entire squad you know will be fit and ready to raring to go on a match day, I think everyone would say you'd put your money on Højbjerg being fit. I think it's the opposite with Gio because of what happened. I'm dreading hearing this week he's picked up an injury in training. I want him to start against Burnley, but that's where it is with him. He is a player and a half when he's on it. But now I need to talk about, and I hope Ryan Isaacs is in this chat, and I hope he is still here because we did a show, and Ben's the man in the comments, and Ben will know where I'm going with this. We said about who's that we're doing at the end after Christmas. We're doing like best player of the year, underrated, overrated. And Ryan said Destiny Udogie is overrated. Said he's a good player, but he thinks he's getting overrated too highly. And then after the Brighton game, he came for me and Ben and went, Ben, you remember what I was saying? You're in the mud. Destiny's overrated. Ryan, I'm going to throw it back at you, sir. Destiny Udogie yesterday was a beast. He is everywhere. I don't know how his energy capacity, his stamina, his power, his position. I mean, I think there were 4 times minimum where if it wasn't for him, Bournemouth are through 1-on-1. Whether he's coming from the left into centre back, where he was going all the way to the right, Destiny Udogie was absolutely everywhere. I don't even know how. 1 minute he is defending, and within 15 seconds, he's the most forward person, most advanced person in the team. He is absolutely awesome. And yesterday he didn't play left back, he didn't play left wing, he didn't play left wing back. He played everywhere. As Lee Harvey called Pape Matar Sarr, and I've nicked it big time, and I will always credit him when I go on the shows, the lawnmower. I think we've got the second, because this man is everywhere. He was absolutely immense yesterday, Johnny.
Listen, his upper body strength is fantastic. He shielded the ball really, really well. I mean, the fact that we gave up 24 shots, and we're talking about how fantastic Destiny was. I mean, that says it all, really. I thought we got away with one yesterday. I really did. I thought Bournemouth were fantastic, and the fact that Destiny was superb says a lot. To be honest with you, my only disappointment with Destiny is that, having watched him at Udinese and how he liked to hug the touchline, and he'd pick up the ball and he'd start to motor, and once he motored, you couldn't stop him. He would cut inside and unleash a shot and score goals. But because you're playing inverted, you don't tend to be able to build up that head of steam, because you're running into players in more crowded positions. If you saw how Bournemouth exploited us yesterday, because we play narrow defenders, they were playing it wide onto the flanks and running at us. And, Porro gave away a lot of space yesterday. But no, Destiny is a superb player. And at his age, personally, it would be a miracle we hang on to him, because I think he's Real Madrid bound, to be honest with you.
I have to say, Lee Harvey, you're more than welcome. I am bigging your name up all over the shop. People are starting to use it. I will always say you have trademarked it. It's that name, the lawnmower, is all Lee Harvey's. I won't have anyone say anything else. But yeah, Destiny was just about. I just hope that, I will say, the new contract, him signing that new contract, is absolute genius by the club, and I will include Levy in that. I will give credit to Levy when I think he deserves it. Signing Destiny to a huge long-term contract was of the utmost, and they're going to have to start doing it with certain players, i.e. Van der Ven, Matt, because there are some players in there. We are turning heads at the moment, and Destiny Udogie, is definitely turning heads. He was absolutely.
We haven't seen the best of him. Those who haven't, that's what I was saying. Those of you who haven't watched him play for Udinese, it was a miracle that we got this player, and it was only through the connections through Fabio and I forgot his name now. My
What are you trying to remember?
Who we got in from Watford, talent scout from Watford.
Gabbanini.
Gabbanini, Gabby. His connection with Udogie. Otherwise, all the top clubs were looking at him. But we haven't seen the best. We really have not seen the best of him. I expected him to be scoring 5 goals a season minimum. He needs to get more into those positions. But with a fit Romero and a fit Mickey van der Ven, that is probably one of the best defences in the league.
Joyce, just to let you know, it's done. It's Fabrizio announced it yesterday. Everything is agreed. It's done. He has signed till 2030. It's just waiting club's official release to say he signed. It's a done deal. Pape Matar is here or tied down to 2030 at Tottenham Hotspur. It's done. Johnny, your next special mention.
I'm going to go for Richarlison. The reason I'm going to go for Richarlison is because I feel like I have to defend him. Is everything right about his game? Absolutely not. Should he have scored yesterday again? Yes, for sure. He had one where he definitely should have scored. The other one I thought was a good save from Neto. But he should have scored for sure. But I just don't think people realise the amount of work that he gets through, and the closing down and the tackling and the pressure that he does. I mean, when he's running on that line, I think it was Son's goal.
Yep.
He actually got the ball. He won the ball in a tackle, which then gave it to Lo Celso. And Lo Celso obviously made that pass for Son. His goals per minute ratio is better than Son's. Just to let you know, believe it or not. But the fan base seemed to be determined for him to fail. You should be determined to see him turning it around, just like we did with Pedro Porro, right? To turn it around and start scoring goals. You know, it wouldn't matter. If he scored 2 yesterday, they would still be talking about the one he missed. They wouldn't be talking about the 2. He should have had a hat trick. He should have done this. He should have done that. I thought his work off the ball was superb yesterday. It's too much hate, far too much hate. I think it was 5 goals in 5 games.
Yep. Big up 400 of you. Big up.
Don't forget to like the stream, guys, because
and join if you want to support the channel now. You can now join as a member. If you want to, if you can. Like I said, lots coming in 2024. And I'm going to go on, Johnny.
I was just going to say, you know, look, the thing is, you know, all that hate doesn't help us. If Liz is injured now and Richy is all we've got, you need to be willing him to score those goals. Okay. Confidence breeds confidence. Solanke, if Solanke was Richarlison yesterday, could you imagine the abuse? 9 attempts he had, 9 chances. He had 2 open headers, which he should have buried. He should have scored. He probably should have scored at least 2, 3 yesterday, Solanke. And he had 9 chances and scored none of them. So Richy was definitely culpable for missing 1 very good chance. But I think his runs, I don't think people appreciate as well the runs that he creates space for Son. You know, he put through Son. What about in the opening when he put Son through with that pass? There were a couple of times he put Son through. It's progression. Let's hope he continues to press, and his work rate was fantastic and he lasted longer. I, for one, hope that he continues to score goals from 50 chances, right? But it is what it is. It is what it is. If he gets 15 goals, great. But even if he scores 15 goals and wins us 6 games, Solanke's rubbish. Well,
so you know what I'm going to add with Richarlison, Johnny? I know Ray the Yid's in here. I'm sure Craig Sullivan's in here as well. There is a group of us on Twitter now, Guardians of the Pumba, which every match day, I've mentioned it before, Sean Slater's become part of it. There's Lord of Actors in it. There's quite a few of us.
There's a few of us.
There's a few of us fans in it, and it's joining. You just need to follow us or put in a pigeon Twitter GIF on match days. My timeline. I go onto Twitter and it says I've got like 40 notifications and 38 of them are different pigeon. It's so much fun. Can
I just say, Brian? Can I just add to that? Right, our best defender last season at corners was Harry Kane. Harry Kane was always on the end, right?
Yep.
Richarlison actually, not only did he clear, God knows how many headers yesterday from corners, but he actually got the head on the ball, which pushed it past the post from the
free kick.
Effort. Yeah, from the free kick.
Yeah, I've got to say with him, I've got to say as well, people may say, listen, there are chances he should take, and he doesn't. There are times where he needs to stay on side and read the line. He's one of the informed strikers in the Premier League for the month of December. Without his 5 goals, obviously the results are very, very different. I see a lot of people talking yesterday saying that his work rate wasn't all that. I think his work rate was absolutely phenomenal yesterday. His hold-up play has got better. Listen, the goal that he scored was the carbon copy of the Everton, like literally the carbon copy of that. And like I said, against Everton, if that was last season's Richarlison, he either fluffs the ball, it goes wide, or he's not in the position to get the
I
goal.
don't think he's in the position.
He is literally. This is the first I heard as well. This is the first time in his entire Spurs career where he started 5 straight games. Started.
Yeah.
In his forward position as well. And in that, he has come in and got 5 goals. 5 goals. Like I said, 15 would probably be his target. Can I see him getting it across the FA Cup as well? Maybe. Especially if Elise is out, we'll have to see what happens.
Going to be starved though. The problem is, Brian, without Son, without Maddison, without the midfield, he might. I do worry that he might struggle to receive the ball. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll say thank you to Tagaro for the super chat and for the membership. As sticking up for his players yesterday equals gold. Valise was injured and Bournemouth were being, yes, bitches about it. I'll say it. Ange did good. Passion and venom. He did. We saw Ange. It was the most animated I'd seen Ange. He really wanted to mix it up. But yeah, this is the thing with Richarlison. We mentioned it before about players that start getting picked on or not picked on, singled out for the negative. He does, Peter. He does need to get to 15. He's on course for it. He is.
That's that last one. 5 goals in 18 games, right? You can pick
Tommy.
whatever stat you like, right? The fact of the matter was he was playing for the club, injured and nowhere near fit, right? So since he's had his operation, which he's been injured since the World Cup and carrying it since the World Cup. Lamela's useless. That's why he's had such a good career.
This is the thing. And with Richy, listen, he's been given the opportunity. I don't think anyone can't say he hasn't taken it. Yes, he's missed some opportunities.
He should have scored again yesterday.
He should have scored again yesterday. The one with Brighton, when he had 2 goals offside, people will say he should be reading the line better. Yes, he absolutely should. But also, I guarantee you, if Bentancur had been fit that game and Bentancur was passing those balls, he would have passed it a second earlier and he would have been onside.
We know who's offside more than him.
Well, Human Son was offside a hell of a lot yesterday. Human Son was off
6
offside.
times in the first 10 minutes, I counted.
But yeah, do you know what? Yeah, yesterday, let's go to him. Let's go to him. I do want to give him a big up before he goes. Took his goal. Well, listen, for me, one of the things he did annoy me a bit yesterday. I can't listen. We talk about this. Thank you very much indeed, Isaac. Thank you very much indeed, sir. You big up, Ash. Good morning to you, darling. Or good evening to you. I think it is where you are. Human Son, a couple of times, Brennan Johnson was free, totally free, and he didn't lay it off. And then there's times he should pass when he should shoot, times when he should shoot and he passes, and then there are times where he should do either and he tries to take someone on. But do you know what? He leads by. I can't stress enough how incredible he is as a captain. I can't. I think what he's doing at Spurs as captain is wonderful things off the pitch as well as on the pitch. And he took his goal incredibly well. He needs to get that clinical side of him back again, which I fear he's slightly losing. But yes, he was offside a fair few times. But I think when you needed him at 1-0 and we needed that second goal, boy, did he take it well. Johnny.
I thought it was poor yesterday. I've got to be honest with you. He was hugging that touchline on the left-hand side. 4 minutes in, what a fantastic ball played across to him. He wasn't offside. Saw it on the TV. He wasn't offside. And he should have buried that. I mean, that was a Son back of the net. Yeah. I expected the ball to ripple, the back of the net to ripple. I actually thought that his decision-making was poor, playing players in, hanging on to the ball too long. He got in another position where he had ages when he was put through by Richy. He had ages to decide what to do with the ball. And he just, I don't know. I don't know what was going through his head. It was just deciding. By the time he decided, it was all over. I thought the highlight for me was him hugging Sarr and Valise, to be honest with you. He didn't have that energy. But all that said, as poor as he was, and he was poor in my opinion, I thought the goal was fantastic. It was a very well taken goal. And his only other contribution, which I thought was good, was the pass for Richy, which Richy should have put away. But other than that, I thought it was very poor. I would have liked to have seen him do or die before he goes off to Asia. I can only wish South Korea the worst of luck. I know we have a lot of South Korean people in here, and no disrespect, love South Korea, but we'd love our Sonny back. I'm sure you South Korean Spurs fans are conflicted between him going far for your country, but also not so far as that it would harm Spurs' chances. So
I'll put it this way, Johnny. If we were in the same position, I am club over country every single time. Obviously, different people more patriotic to their country or to their team. And the thing is, with Sonny going, I think we can all assume, barring a miracle, they go all the way. Barring a miracle, South Korea, wonderful football team in that part of the world in general.
Only Kim Jong-un can stop them now.
There you go. So who is your next one? Who's your next special mention? Happy New Year, Davo. Big up to you, matey. Was great meeting you. Do you remember meeting Dave, Johnny, on transfer deadline day at Bent?
Yes.
Big up to you, Davo. I hope you and the family are well. Happy New Year.
I think now, who else should I mention? We mentioned.
We'll deal with that AF, but we'll deal with questions. Anyone get your questions in, put Q or at TOT, and me and Johnny will go through them at the end. But yeah,
think now. Big Vic again. His organisation of that defence. I put a post out on after the Brighton game of Big Vic organising the defence and pulling Porra around, telling him where to stand. And quite a few people say to me, "What are you talking about? That's what goalkeepers do." Yeah, I'm sure they talk to them, but I've never seen, Lloris manhandle them and drag them around and act with such authority. I thought he was very impressive again on yesterday. The fact is that he's going to get better. I mean, more's being asked of him now than maybe at his other club. But you speak to Empoli fans, and they will say that he single-handedly kept them up last season. So you can see why, even when things are really, really bad, you'd fancy one-on-ones.
Yep.
That he's going to be there, and to have played as well as he has done with, I don't know how many times he's had the same defence in front of him, how many different defensive pairings he's had. You just got to take your hat off to him. For me, the best player at Spurs this season by a country mile. I know Maddison's been great and what have you, but for me, he has been the man who's been our standout the first half of the season. So that's why I have to mention him.
Yeah, listen, I think this should be called special mentions / Vicario, because every single week, regardless, this man does it. He made a couple of big up. Colin, by the way, Happy New Year to you and the family, buddy, and the 378 people in here. Once again, Happy New Year to you all and your families. Yeah, Vicario, I keep saying it now. For me, the pound for pound best signing for value in world football that summer, let alone the Premier League. This man is absolutely magnificent. I should get a T-shirt done saying I got it wrong, because this man, it's just unbelievable how good this man is. Just when you think you've seen it all, he'll pull out another save. And there were times we really needed him yesterday. There were times, and you know what? There even a couple of times yesterday when we started doing our playing out from the back, that looked a bit ropey again because we haven't got the defenders there to do it. I never get nervous. I never get nervous with the man we said goodbye to yesterday. I was shaking like a leaf. But with Vicario, no matter what this man does, I have 100% confidence. If someone's through one-on-one, yeah, you're like, oh God, here we go. But you realise who's in the sticks. This man is just absolutely off the chain. He is incredible, and he's another one that should be tied down immediately, because I can guarantee you clubs are looking. I can guarantee you clubs are like, oh, wait a minute. This man has to be tied down to the longest contract we can give him with these new laws coming in. Just sign this man, double his, or whatever you need to do, just get it done, because he's brilliant. And who's that? Joe, what? I want to. We spoke Bentancur, but I'm going to leave Bentancur to you, because I want to speak Brennan Johnson. What a shock! I remember to speak about Brennan when Colin's in the building. When we started going for him at the end of the window, Colin will know I was like, I just didn't understand the transfer. Didn't get it. I thought we needed a striker, and didn't understand it. Now I get it. And yes, he had a poor game against Brighton. And yes, he got put through a couple of times and should have scored it. And yes, he deserved the criticism. But I'm sorry, like we said with Richy taking his goals, this man is starting to learn at right wing how to find Richy. Yes, he's still got to work on certain aspects of his game, but he is there to create and score goals. And the pass that he put on, we're talking, that goal was like with Sheringham and Anderton when they knew what to do on the corner. There seems to be that understanding where if he gets in that place. I used to watch this show with David, or I watched this thing with Dwight York, and he said we had this thing with David Beckham that if he took the ball around someone, he was putting it far post. And if he didn't take the play, just went for it, he was going near post. So they just knew where to go as soon as he was laying the ball off. It looks like that's what's happening with Richarlison and Johnson. And they are working together. And his tracking back against Brighton was non-existent. Yesterday, it was much improved. He couldn't do much worse than he did against Brighton. But he came on, he started the game. He looked dangerous. Sonny could have passed it to him a couple of times when he was open, but didn't. But that's a different story. But when the moment came and he had to put the ball in, he did it. And it's another assist for him to go on the start. And I think we're going to see in the second half of the season a much better, a much more confident, a much improved Brennan Johnson, Johnny.
Yeah, listen, the assist was really good. He's 22 years of age. I mean, he's nowhere near the finished article. You can't teach electric pace. It's a God-given talent, but there's lots to his game he still needs to learn. I think, some of his challenges were very weak. He was knocked off the ball far too easily in some of the challenges, which I find a bit infuriating. You've got to be tougher in the tackle. For me, it's a little bit lightweight in that respect. And sometimes his football IQ is not fantastic at his decision making, but he has a fantastic attribute with his pace.
Yep.
And as you rightly say, some of the crosses that are coming in have been fantastic, and he's only going to get better. That's for sure. I don't think he tracks back well enough, Brian, personally.
He can improve, but he's getting better at it.
Where he was jogging back, and you shouldn't be jogging. I don't want to see you jogging back and leaving Porro exposed. Sorry, Porro was exposed a heck of a lot yesterday. They really exploited that space because we play so narrow, and they just kept coming down that right-hand side. And a lot of that was to do with both Porro and Brennan Johnson not covering that space well enough. Going forward, I thought the cross was fantastic. And as you rightly say, got into a couple of good positions. There's a lot more to come from him. We saw in Brighton, the downside of his game, his finishing and his decision-making and his tracking back and stuff. So it was a much more positive game for him yesterday.
I have to say with Isaac as well, first of all, it's incredible when we see people from all around the world, and thank you for tuning in all the way from Uganda. It's incredible the reach YouTube has and how wide the community is getting. And you're right, Isaac. I liken it to I hate it when we make comparisons. When Gareth Bale left and Andros Townsend came through, he's the next Gareth Bale. It's like, why? No, he's not. No, he's not. He's the next Andros Townsend. You can't compare Richarlison to Kane. The only thing they have in comparison is they both play in the same position. It's like comparing a Ferrari to a Ford Fiesta.
Well, they've both got 4 wheels, and that's
exactly.
it.
They're both cars. That's the equivalent. They're both completely different players, but that's where we are in football now. You get rid of a striker, like when Man City get rid of Haaland and bring in the next one, they'll go, he's no Haaland. It's like, well, of course not. But yeah, who are you going for?
Colin, what Colin just said there is exactly it. He's too soft. You know, I'm not saying you see him in the photos all smiling. You know, the guy probably hugs everybody. He needs to get nasty. He does.
He does. Who's your next special mention? I left a certain number 30 out for you.
Yeah, I know. Listen, Lolo. It's hard to say. I'm going to mention Lolo because I love him. Listen, when he came from Juventus, everyone was going on about Kulu, and rightly so. But for me, as soon as I saw how he is on the ball, the elegance of how he plays in that first few games, I was waxing lyrical, and I couldn't wait to see him play in a more advanced role, scoring goals and getting forward. And that's what we saw in his, the second 6 months. That first few games before the World Cup, he was Tottenham's standout player. And I'm talking about every player, including Harry Kane, before he went to that World Cup.
Yeah.
He was, excuse me, he was the player of the round in the qualifying group stages on stats, and unfortunately got injured. And, he was rushed back for that Leicester game. But he is such a class act. I don't think he was anywhere near ready yesterday. I'm sorry. He was fine when Saul was there to protect him. And I do seriously worry without Saul's protection and who's going to come in to protect him, that it's going to be much harder for him in the games ahead. I just hope between now and I don't care if he doesn't play Burnley, to be honest with you. I would rather he didn't play Burnley and we keep him for Man United fit. I think, another couple of weeks, he's going to need every bit of it.
Even have him on the bench, Johnny, and bring him on should we need him.
Yeah. Just don't want him getting injured.
I have to say as well, before I quickly respond with my thoughts on Lolo, AF in Oz, I love it when I hear these quotes from players and managers, like we heard with Vicario saying that he would have ran over here and he would have signed in blood. But I just want to bring up, look at this, wait one sec, Ben. I just want to bring up one comment, which is, look at this. This was asked about his best save of the season. He said the next one. That is genius. I absolutely love that comment. But Ben, comments back in your hands, brother. But yeah, I have to say, Bentancur, do you know what? He's class personified, isn't he? He's calm. He's cool. He's every time he's on the ball, it's just relaxed. It's like, okay, he's on the ball. Relax. You know how, like you said, he is. Before that Leicester, there's no coincidence that our season went completely off the rails after the Leicester game when he went off. Before that World Cup, he was sensational. After the World Cup, obviously, it didn't take long before that injury happened. He was running the game against Aston Villa before Matty Cash did what Matty Cash does. He needs
to come off, though. I'm amazed. I was amazed that he lasted 57 minutes. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, I saw him up after 25,
I have to say, 3 for all. If I wanted to put a description of how... This is exactly how you could put him.
Yeah.
That is the bang-on way to talk about Bentancur. That's 3 for all. You're going to get some credit from me because that's being used, my friend. That is right up there with Lee Harvey and the lawnmower for Pape. John, I'm just trying to think of anyone else before we go on the big man. Do you have anyone else? Because I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, I'd like to. There's two I'd like to mention.
Let's do it.
The one I'd like to mention is the guy that deserves all the credit.
I know where you're going with this.
Is Fabio Paratici. I mean, honestly and truthfully, You know, I stood up for this guy over the last 18 months. And when they said sack him, get rid of him, you know, I knew how good Destiny was. I couldn't believe we'd signed him. Obviously, a lot of people, you know, don't follow a lot of football maybe, and only like in this country, you can understand it. But when you look at Vicario and you look at Bentancur and you look at Kulu and you look at Sarr and you look at Destiny, you know, even Basuma for 25 million. I've got to say, our recruitment has never, ever been this good.
I think you can add Dragosan to that in a few days' time.
Well, listen, all I know is I think between this window coming and the summer window, our transformation will be complete. And, you know, for once in our life, we will not be spending money and watching every asset that we purchase go down in value. I know probably you'll say Richy's gone down in value. I think we would still sell him for around £50 million to Saudi. I definitely think maybe Gill is one that maybe might struggle to get your money back for. But on the whole, I think without having this guy at the club, Ange would not have the assets. He's been fortunate to come in and have these players, but I think he definitely would use them better than any Conte would. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yep. And who was the second one you wanted to mention? I mean, Fabio. Listen, long may this guy's reign continue. He has been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I will say I went absolutely nuts when we signed Papa Matasar. Absolutely nuts, because I was like, we need now, not future. And I still stand by that. But my God, you and me are two of his biggest fans when it comes to Pape. His eye for these players are just like none other we've ever seen. I mean, Paul Mitchell was there, but he didn't get the kind of players that are coming in right now. Spot on the money. But who's the other person you wanted to mention?
I'm sorry, I've got to mention it, right? Skippy. He was lucky to stay on the pitch yesterday.
He was.
I mean, if you could give marks for effort and desire 10 out of 10 every single time, right? You cannot fault him for his commitment and his effort, but he is woefully short of what is required for this club. When you look at Maddison, Gio, Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr, even Pierre, and then you look at Skip, I'm sorry, he's an asset. He's on a good contract. Sell him. We'll get 25, 30 million for him, maybe 25 mil. Use that money to upgrade to a better, you know, and if we can get 20 million for Højbjerg, that's 45 million. I would rather use that 45 million to go and buy Gallagher, right? Because I believe that he's got the flexibility to play in multiple positions for us, and he will add to our midfield. Unfortunately, at the moment, those two are not adding to it.
Yeah, I mean, Skippy, I think under previous managers he worked. I just don't think he's an Ange type player, and I just can't see. You look at it: Basuma, Bentancur, Maddison, Sarr, Donnelly coming through, Gio. He just goes when people are fit. I just can't see it. And like you said, I think he was very, very fortunate to stay on the pitch. All right, let's do it. Let's get on to the big man. Let's get on to the big man.
I'm surprised no one is mimicking. Just to let you know, I'm coughing like Ange at the moment in Morse code because I've had COVID. I'm 3 weeks in, believe it or not. Yeah, I do suffer badly from it.
You did.
It's not very pleasant, but yeah, I'm amazed no one's mimicking Ange, because he always looks at the floor and goes constantly. It's actually really weird. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with the grunting and the noises. But listen, I don't know what he's doing. But, to have turned the club around the way he has in 6 months on and off the pitch is quite remarkable from where we were. I think he's done a fantastic job. On the negative point of view, I really don't agree with his in-game management. In a lot of cases, I struggle to understand it sometimes. The use of, especially in the Wolves game where I thought he picked the wrong team to start. I didn't understand again yesterday. You're 3-0 up. Why do you not bring on Ashley Phillips? You're 3-0 up. Surely that's the time to bring on an 18-year-old centre-back to give him confidence, give him some few minutes, right? If you do not trust him at 3-0 up at home, why is he even on the bench? Why is he on the bench? So I'm not a great fan of his substitutions again yesterday, as I said. Donnelly again was told to get ready, and it just didn't happen again. But gotta love Ange. He's taken us from the depths of despair to happiness and elation. And quite honestly, I'm happy to lose football games playing this football than to sit waiting to be shot in the back of the head for 70 minutes, which is what we had before.
Mate, listen, what can I say about Ange? First of all, yesterday seeing him fired up, and I've seen the questions come in. We will be doing questions after we've done Ange. If you have any questions, get them in now at TOT, or just put a Q and a minus sign a dash. Ange Postecoglou, let's just look at it. He's been here now. Let's just say he's reached the halfway point of his first season. When we appointed him, if someone had said our style of football would be what it was with the players we have, the injuries and suspensions we've had, and we'd be where we are in the league, and the whole media world loving watching Spurs, like gone from the most non-existent, I don't want to watch them, they're so dull, to I can't wait till Tottenham are next playing, is credit to the man. Graham, next to, I've seen how do you become a member? Next to the subscribe button, if you're watching, you'll see something that says join. Just hit the join button, or Ben very shortly will put the link in to show how you can become a member.
LinkedIn.
This guy has come in, and thank you for your support, Graham, and everyone that has become a member of the channel. We greatly appreciate it. There's going to be a lot coming your way, as well as non-members, but a lot more for members. And Graham, the link from Ben is in the chat now. But yeah, going back to Ange Postecoglou.
Our link's gone, Brian.
Say again?
Our name links.
We'll do until I bring back with special mentions. Ange Postecoglou. At the end, it'll come up, brother. But yeah, what I will say is this man has come in, and the few defeats we've had, like Brighton, and the run we went on, we all thought we were going to get at the start. In fact, Ben, pin the link to the top of the chat so anyone that comes in can see it. If you just pin it, if you can. So yeah, the way that he's coming to that, we all thought these defeats were going to start at the beginning and then we'll go like Poch did. What this man has done, and let's talk about yesterday. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes his in-game management can be questioned, or his subs sometimes. But you know what? With the depleted squad that went out there yesterday, 2 injuries again, needed to just get the job done. And you got to remember, losing to Brighton, especially with that lot down the road, the filth dropping points. Everyone around us had been dropping points, and we'd been taking advantage of it. And we missed a big one against Brighton. And then obviously playing the same time as the filth yesterday.
Can you imagine being joined top?
Oh, I mean, that would have been just incredible. I mean, I saw a lot of people on, even Arsenal fans saying, do you know what? If Arteta had to deal with Ange, what Ange was dealing with at Arsenal, I think we'd be mid-table. And that's Arsenal fans saying it. Yeah. So they're realizing that if you look at it, this is what we're doing without the Madisons, the Van der Vens, the long-term injuries that have got to come back. When they come back, and if we do this right in January, and it's a huge if, what this man is doing, and this is just like people have been saying, Arteta and other managers have had 3, 4, 5 windows. More. This man's had one window. And I could have, if someone has said this, big up. Thank you so much for that, Rich. That really means a lot, mate. That really means a lot. If someone had said to us at the beginning of the season exactly what would have happened going on to New Year's Day, the only thing I would have been annoyed about is what someone would have said to me about Fulham. Thank you, Chan, for becoming a member. We really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so very, very much.
Gill's miss was terrible. You're right. Gill's miss was shocking. I have got good news, though, Brian.
Go on.
I feel that this is a great sign that we are going to spend money in the January transfer window. During yesterday's game, just before half-time, we had a torrential rainstorm. And,
I saw your tweet.
And basically, there was a hole in the roof, okay? And the water was cascading down onto the cameraman who was filming. And it was everywhere. It was literally pouring down. It was pouring down in various places. So obviously Daniel has decided that he's not going to spend the money fixing the hole in the roof. And the money is going to be better spent buying us a centre-back on a buy now, pay later basis. And hopefully we will have the 2 players that we need. I think we can get by with a defensive midfielder and a Gallagher. A Gallagher and a centre back would be very nice. Thank you very much.
You know, I can just imagine now with the roof, we'll probably have a. Do you remember in churches where they have "Save Our Roof" appeal and they have the thermometer with the that's what we'll get. But listen,
honestly, you see it on my Twitter feed. It was pouring through.
So going back to Ange, I mean, we look at this as a review, and my God, going into this year, we've got our man. The whole support base is 125 million% behind him. Like you said, we have gone from the most boring football, Johnny, the most dire football you've ever seen.
Him, please.
And then we've gone on to this incredible spectacle that we're seeing, and hopefully, with Paratici, McKenzie, Lange, Munn, January will prove to be a good one. January will prove to be one where I'm going, oh my God, well done to the club. Well done to Levy. Hoping, which I will gladly do, but we shall wait and see. But you know what? Let's go through some questions, Johnny. There's quite a few. And everyone, there's still 387 of you here on New Year's Day. Thank you.
How many likes, right?
How many likes? I don't know because I'm actually on here, but someone will put in there, one of our brilliant admins.
Guys, if you give us a like, pop them through, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
There we go. So Johnny, here we go. The first question was Paul Pueblo. What's the situation with the Bahamas branch? Is Joe still in charge or is still neither? We've also got this in the trust, and this is the month where Joe Lewis meets his comeuppance. Johnny, if you do another tweet like you did with Joe Lewis, please don't tag me in it. 15,000, mate. I had to charge my phone 3 times in a day.
Yeah. I've forgotten how many million views it had.
I don't even do not tag me in that because it will go bonkers again and my battery will die. Next question from AF in Oz: Bentancur or Big Vink?
Bentancur actually wants the. I was told before he got his injury that he would love to one day be captain of Spurs. So, you know, Bentancur, but I think on performance right now and at game time, probably Big Vic.
Yeah, do you know
Bearing in mind, can I just say that if you consider the 3 leaders of this club, the 3 chosen leaders of the club, we are not going to have one of them on the pitch in January.
Yeah, so I think as much as I would like to see one of them too, I think against Burnley, and maybe for most of it, if Bentancur isn't there, I think you'll be seeing Ben Davies as captain. I really do. But I would love it to be Rodrigo Bentancur when he's starting, obviously. Next question. Great one from Lee B. Would you be happy with, we got 39 points this half. Would you be happy with 39 points this half?
100%. Yeah.
You would be?
Yeah. European football.
Do you know what? I would be, but I'm kind of, no, I wouldn't be, because we're going to have the players back, the big boys back.
You see now run in April, Brian.
Yeah,
Newcastle, Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool.
Mate, so we got, I'm not saying, yes, don't get me wrong. Would I be happy with it? Yeah. But do I think we can get more with if the big boys come back and the big boys stay fit and we start playing like we did at the beginning of the season? I think 39 points, we'll get past it. I honestly think that's me being ultra positive. But that's, again, if the players stay fit and if they come back on form and if we support Ange in January. But if 39, yeah, I would be happy. But I think we're capable of more. Tony Rodriguez, my brother, would you have rather seen Phillips or Dorrington get the chance? Yes.
100%, Tony. And this is what I'm saying. This is one of the downsides of Ange. You know, Tony, when you're 3-0 up and there isn't long left to go in the game, what message does it send to the kids that a guy you want to leave the club, you've told can leave the club, gets in ahead of you? And he made a mistake, I think, as soon as he came on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way, I would have rather played Valise injured than Dyer coming on. I would rather have kept Valise playing at back. But also, I will say, you asked a question, Johnny, how many likes? There's 382 viewers. There's 206 likes. Thank you, Chan, for putting that in as a super.
Hit that like button,
greatly
guys.
appreciated.
Thank you. You're
oh, Ryan is here. Ryan Isaacs is here. So I just want to say, you said to me and Ben, Destiny, I see you. Well, me and Ben definitely see you today. I'll talk to you about Destiny later on, brother. Yeah, I agree with you. I'd rather see Dorrington or Phillips. Dyer. I think we're going to see one of them in the FA Cup. I don't know how I feel about that, in all honesty, because
9 changes again.
I best not be, because I will not be happy. I will put it this way: if we do that and go out to Burnley, when we get to the Ange Postecoglou section, there'll be fireworks from me.
You can see it happening.
There'll be fireworks from me. Okay, Simon, is Tanguy coming back? If he is coming back, I don't want him anywhere near this football club. I want him to just. People will normally say, or people normally go and train with the under 23s and whatever. To me, that was meant to be punishment to the player. To me, it will be punishment to the under 23s because they are flying. The youth academy and everything they're doing, they are flying. Do not let this man. Don't let him come into the ground. Let him go and go, like we've done with managers before. Put him on gardening leave. Either rip up his contract, put him on gardening leave. Do not let him in. And I know from standing outside that training ground on many occasions for certain reasons, when the players come in, obviously they have to do their security and take Tanguy's name off that list. Do not allow him into that complex.
Remember all the people who actually said that Tanguy should be given a chance and we should sell Gio. That was laughable. He waltzed in day one, scene one, act one, another one of those tweets that went a bit nuts. Do you remember when I said, look at the excitement on his face? He was exhausted getting out the car and walking to the entrance door. He was exhausted. It was like, oh, who woke me up out of bed for this? No, I'm sorry. Done.
Yep. Done. And I have to say, J-Mac, when it comes to it, mate, to me, the FA Cup, and I'm sure to Johnny as well, who's older than myself, the FA Cup, not just what it means to this football club, but the history of this cup. Forget what it means to Tottenham Hotspur. This means more to me than top 4. The FA Cup means more to me than the top 4 any day.
Well,
if you said to
winning
me right
it, I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. If you're telling me a cup run or top 4, then, you know, I want top 4. But if you're telling me winning it, then that's a different kettle of fish.
This is the thing. You've got to remember, and I keep saying, you know, when people used to say when the year ends in 1, that used to be it's Spurs winning the cup. We've got a history for doing that. The last man to win this cup for us was Terry Venables. And how magical and the romance and everything would it be that Tottenham go and bring that cup back home the year the last man that won it passed away? I think it's written in the stars. If we do it right, It's written in the stars. Next question: who's news? Rooney and Gallagher, or Illing Jr. or Jota?
For me, I'd take Rooney and Gallagher all day long. Rooney is going to be a fantastic player. He really is. What he's done for Copenhagen is fantastic. The kid's going all the way, in my opinion. And Gallagher, as I said before, you know, he is a player that can play either the position, the role he's playing for Chelsea at the moment, or the role which I preferred him in at Palace, where he was scoring and assisting. And that role would depend on our injuries. So if, for example, Maddison was out, he'd play the more advanced role. And if we were losing Basuma and Sarr, for example, he'd play the deeper line role. For me, Jota could be one that they go for on a loan, because it would be a cheap deal. And a loan for the season, or a loan with an option. I think that will be up to Ange, to be honest with you. But that's a possible deal. Illing Jr., I'm afraid I don't know enough about him to comment.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've got a bet on another bet on with Ryan for a Popeyes. I said to him that Jota is the most certain deal bet to be done. He was like, nope, not happening. It's not happening. Nothing's been said. And then Fabrizio Romano a few days later said Jota is the most likely, or someone said it. And he was like, Ryan basically feeds me. If I ever go hungry, all I need to do is put a bet on with Ryan, and then I'm fed. It's that simple. When it comes to this, I think Jota gets done. I'm not Crystal Palace Gallagher. I'm a huge fan of. He's done well at Chelsea, but I don't know if it's the bias of where he's come from.
Work rate is fantastic.
Yeah, but I keep saying my one that I want, if we're going to sign a youngster, or sorry, an English homegrown midfielder, is Morgan Gibbs-White. I think that player can play anywhere.
Forget it. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But I'm saying that's my choice. That's who I want.
I'd take Elise over him every day.
I'll take Eze over Elise. There we go. But yeah, Luca, thank you so much, buddy. Happy New Year to you as well. There's more and more great content coming from us. We have our new show on Thursdays with Rez. There is a lot coming from us. So put your seatbelts on. It's going to be a fast and smooth ride. January will obviously be going non-stop for the window being open, as will most channels. But thank you for the super chat. Ray the Yid, my dear man. Do you think Scarlett will get game time now Valise is injured?
Listen, honestly, if the guy can't get minutes at Ipswich, okay, only by default. If he's getting minutes for Spurs and Donnelly and Phillips are not getting minutes, I'll have questions to be asked. But you never know. You'll never know.
Exactly. I mean, listen, I am a fan of Scarlett, but we need to find out if he's going to do it
right now. He's not ready.
But this is the thing. What we got to do with him is, one of the good things about our youth academy, or meant to be, is if they're not playing, we sell them on, we make money, and it gets reinvested into the squad. We've now got Valise, we've now got Sunsop Bell. There's so many coming through that don't fit into the system. Like, we can't bring them all through. So him coming back with Jermaine Defoe, and you know what? He's definitely going to be on the bench now. There's no doubt he's on the bench. Maybe even starting against Burnley. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see if he gets it. But he's definitely coming back, and we're going to have to see what the future holds for him. Yoris, big up, my man. Do we know exactly what happened on the touchline when Ange lost his shit? I haven't heard any.
For Liz, it was over for Liz. They were going on about Liz. It was about Liz and how the Bournemouth were treating the situation, and he lost it. He lost the plot.
Yeah,
Daddy came to the rescue.
Yeah, it looked like something had happened. Obviously, it was over the Vallis injury, but I think Bournemouth were trying to say that he wasn't injured. You could clearly see that he was. And then I think it was one of the Bournemouth, I think it wasn't the Bournemouth manager. From what I heard, I can't remember. It's one of the, it wasn't him. It was one of the players or the assistant that said something. And then he snapped. And mate, I thought it was proper going to kick off. But thankfully, everyone got round him. He got his yellow card. So, yeah, we got from Lee Harvey, the lawnmower man. Do you think? Well, we just dealt with this with Ray's comment, but yeah, who else is there? Who else is there? I mean, if with Son gone, the thing you got to look at with Son gone, Johnny. I think Johnson's now going to be on the left. Kulu's going to go back on the right. It's could Johnson even play through the middle?
Johnson can play through the middle. He will just adapt. Personally, I think you play Richy. If Feliz had been fit, I would have been playing Richy on the left, Feliz through the middle, Johnson on the right, and Kulu through the middle. That's what I would have been doing. But let's wait and see.
There you go. Well, we've got a question for you. We got a question for you from Simon. Big up, Simon. Haven't seen you for a while. Hope you and the family are well.
2.
How many players? You reckon 2? Okay, and who? Get your mystic ball out.
I'd love to say Tosin. But Dragon's probably the most likely. I know Spurs would love to do Gallagher, but I just can't see it. I just can't see it. So those would be my 2. Dragon from Genoa, the Romanian centre back, 6'3". Prefer Tosin, 6'5", quick, mobile, already geared up to the Premier League. And I'd love Gallagher. But I'm sure that we will get a left fielder from Fabio.
Let's hope so. Joris, we will never, ever, ever forget you, mate. The questions we always do at the end, mate. No worries about rechatting it. No worries, brother. Final question from Carl. Big up, Carl. I hope you're well.
Dorrington.
There you go. So that wraps up the very first Ange-r Management of the season. Thank you to everyone that joined in. Johnny, thank you so much for joining me as always, my man. It's always a pleasure. It's good to have you fighting fit and back with us. Where can people find you? Yeah, fit. Okay. Not fighting to be fit, should I say?
Fighting to be fit. Johnny H3232. If you go on there and follow me, I've just started my Instagram account again after my one with 9,000 followers. Got scrapped for posting a video of Gil getting an elbow in the head. The link's in there. And if you're not following me on Twitter, give me a follow. And always post some good content from games and stuff. And obviously you'll find me on here or Tottenham on tour with Ange-r Management with Brian. Brian, thank you for having me on as always.
Mate, my pleasure. Honestly, you've been with me now. We've been doing this almost a year together. This show we haven't, Tottenham on tour, I haven't missed a single one. Obviously, your illness has ruled you out for a couple of ones. But during January, I'll be doing a lot more with Johnny. During the window as well. It won't just be Ange-r Management. Guys, before we finish, I just want to say thank you to every single person that has supported the channel from all over the world. Thank you for the people that became members today. Thank you for the people that have joined today. We have a lot of things coming up, starting with Cockerel Doodle Doo back at its normal time tomorrow. I believe Ben will be with me again tomorrow. We will go into all the things that we're going to do with our membership and all the stuff coming up. Mental health stream coming up in January or February. We're working on that already. There is just a lot coming your way. Thank you for your support last year. Thank you for the support that's coming this year. Everyone have a very, very, very happy new year. Whatever you do, enjoy your New Year's Day. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. The window is open. And as always, Levy out.
Come on, you Spurs.